Tonight, I am doing a live mailbag. Welcome to the Common Sense Show. We're going to have one fun one tonight. And let me just move this out of the way. It's going to be fun. We're going over mailbag. So these are questions, user submitted questions that I have let pile up for some time. And I'm excited to actually answer these tonight. I'm looking forward to it. So also I have some stuff I want to share with you. Like I have some other stuff, some random stuff. It has nothing really to do about business, but I thought it was actually pretty funny, something I saw on the web. It's going to be a chill stream mailbag and just chill stream, basically answering some questions, sharing some of the mailbag stuff. And I'm looking forward to kind of just discussing and helping out some of the viewers and listeners of the podcast with their questions. So I'm going to start with the first question, but before I do so, I'm going to roll the intro. We're going to get right into the mailbag, and we're just going to have fun, relax, answer some questions, and go from there. So I'll see you in 36 seconds. All right, we're back, and I want to just kind of lay out what we're doing tonight. I'm going to just share some of the viewers and listeners' questions that they have for me. I'm excited to answer them, and I know that you watching you may have your own responses. So if you're watching this live and you want to chime in with your own examples, then you're more than welcome to. Go ahead and just fire up the chat and let me know what you think about what I'm talking about here tonight, this evening. So let's start with the first mailbag question that we have. So this mailbag question is, hi, my sister wants to start a small business selling various Mexican food and drinks, but is afraid of not knowing all the legalities that come with starting a small business in Florida. Well, viewer, listener, thank you so much for the question. And certainly starting a small business in general can be nerve-wracking for a myriad of reasons. Legalities is certainly one of them. And of course, no doubt your sister is jumping into the pool of small business ownership and probably has no idea what to expect. So the unknown of starting a small business is definitely another factor to that. And there is no doubt that part of your sister's nervousness is because restaurant industry specifically, something else caught my eye about Jordan's over here. So just ignore that. So I'm just going to erase that Jordan's comment from your mind. See if I can just rewind back and not say that, actually. I think I might be able to. All right, we're just going to go back to the beginning, and I didn't say that. Okay. So the restaurant industry in particular is what is tough. It probably has one of the highest failure rates. And this is just me being honest. I'm not trying to be purposefully hard on the dream, because we all have them when we're starting businesses. But yeah, so I get the nerves. My point is I get the nerves. And to some extent, we all go into business not knowing all the legalities or regulations that come with starting a small business in any state. Some businesses are actually easier to do. Some states are actually easier to do business in than other states by a significant margin. But how I would start is a few things. Remember, everything in business is about priorities, and you want to rank order the most important things first before you actually think about um, opening. So, one of the things I would do actually before I open my restaurant is I would network with other restaurants in the area. And I would ask them. And generally speaking, most small business owners are willing to talk about small business. So if you actually talk to them and you say to them, hey, I'm thinking about opening my own small Mexican restaurant in the area. Is there any advice that you might have 5 minutes that you might be able to give to me? Another thing that you should do, or you could do, and one of the things that I always suggest is coming up with your best question. So you probably heard me talk about this on previous streams or in other videos. When it comes to going to conferences and going to meet people who are ahead of you in business and who have some great answers. And one of the suggestions that I always give is to ask your top question that you have. If you only had an opportunity to ask your best question, you should write it down and get your best question answered. And for your sister, she might have to go to, like, for instance, 5 restaurants in the area and ask each one of those restaurant owners what her best question. Okay. So perhaps the question should be, where is the best place for me to look for inventory that you know you're going to need to sell in the restaurant, right? Another question that she could ask, in addition to that, is where how long did it take you to get permits for the how long did it take you to get permits for the restaurant? Hold on one second. I'm adding Instagram to the stream, so just give me a moment. Give me a moment. Give me 1 second. All right. Just waiting for Instagram to warm up here. There we are. Okay. And I'm live on Instagram. Okay. So going around and asking your absolute best question about what is your absolute best, like, where do I get my inventory from? Crucial, right? What kind of health permits do I need to open a restaurant? What type of insurance do you have that you think I'm going to need for my business? Or what kind did you carry initially? How important is parking and how much parking am I going to need? Stuff like this, right? So if you're scared of the legalities of starting any business, whether it's restaurant, whether it's something in healthcare, whether it's something that has a lot of liability, like a moving company or perhaps a cleaning company, you need to ask questions to the restaurant owners or whoever your mentor is, almost like you're talking to a jury in the jury box. You have to think about the most important questions that you might have to defend legally, and then ask them the question, right? Like basically what my point is that you need to ask them questions that are suitable for a person like yourself who has no knowledge but would need to understand every possible strategic angle that you can think of. The reason why I say that you can think of is because there's going to be stuff that you don't think about that if you were a 30-year restaurant owner that you could think about. And that's okay. if you miss some stuff, because business is ultimately a learning curve. So feel the fear, I would tell your sister, and do it anyway, because that's how business works. The most successful people feel the fear and they do it anyway. And I think you should follow that example. All right. So thanks for the question. The next question is, I'm struggling with having conversations that truly drive profitability in business. When we discuss new ideas, the conversations often lose focus or fail to lead to actionable steps. Help. So I'm assuming this person is talking about struggling with having conversations with their employees that truly drive profitability in their business. They said that when they discuss new ideas, the conversations lose focus or fail to lead to actionable steps. Well, part of the reason why you are probably experiencing this is because you may go into your staff meetings without an agenda, without a purpose. If conversations in your team meetings about profitability lose focus, it's the person who calls the meetings issue. You have to be able to bring up a topic, keep the meeting on topic, and then until you get a resolution, you don't move on to the next topic. So your goal should be to bring your employees back to the table when it comes to some of the stuff that we're talking about here, right? Like, honestly, we all do it, right? We all get distracted. We all get ADD. We all become that squirrel from Up. If you've never seen Up, there's a scene in Up. There's a little cartoon squirrel that gets distracted. No, it's a cartoon dog that gets distracted, right? And so every time, and this dog can talk, and every time it's an animated show. So every time they begin to start talking, this ADD dog just goes squirrel. He looks off, right? And then they start talking again, and he's like squirrel, because he has ADD. And the bottom line is that it's your job as a business owner to keep everyone on task. The second thing is are your employees familiar with the mission and the vision of your company? Because if they were familiar with the mission and the vision of your company, they probably would ask questions that are way more appropriate to how they need to actually do their jobs and how they can process what they're supposed to do in their jobs on a regular basis. That is crucial. It is crucial for you to lay out what the mission and the vision is for your company and hold it in front of your employees on a regular basis so they can vibe with it. No one is going to want to talk about profitability without them knowing why they are trying to pursue profitability. Keep that in front of them, and I think that they'll come to the table. And new ideas are great, but driving profitability, number one, is about understanding your mission and your vision, because without understanding your mission and your vision, you're not going to be able to understand what you have to do on a regular basis. So my recommendation, I have 3 recommendations. The first recommendation is for you to keep the vision and mission statement in front of them, have them understand it, and you have to bake it into every single thing that you do. The second thing that I would do if I was you, trying to bring this conversation back, is have an agenda that's very specific and in a meeting that doesn't take long. When the reason why people who host meetings lose people all the time is because they have these ridiculous meetings that last for like an hour or an hour and a half, when really the meeting could have been like a fraction of that. In my opinion, I think in the US, we have way too many business meetings. And within all those business meetings that we have, you probably have seen it yourself that most business meetings could have been an email that was well articulated and put together well. But most people don't feel like that. And so instead, they'd rather get together and just clap, just applaud. They want to just applaud, right? Like, oh, James, you've done a great job this quarter. Susie, excellent job with that account. You're doing a great job. And that's all well and good. And you should have staff meetings that do that. But the most important thing is being productive with the staff meeting, hitting your points. How do you lead to actionable steps in a meeting? Is that before you leave, you present the issue. You have to have a structure to your staff meetings. Present the issue, train on the issue, talk about next steps clearly that you want to pursue, and then talk about who's going to follow up on those steps once you do it, like once you implement it. So if you don't have the set already a way for you to follow up on what's going to happen next, who's going to do it, they'll never get implemented, number one. And number two, if you don't personally train them on what needs to be done and weave that into their mission and vision and why they do what they do, they'll never get behind you. And ultimately, they'll lose enthusiasm and you'll just be irritated because you lost enthusiasm. And that's going to slap in the face. It's a cold bucket of water, as we say in Boston. We don't say water like they say in Hollywood. We say water. Right? It actually goes down. Water. Anyways, so that's how I think that you can bring these conversations to fruition. You have to have a system that trains, supervises, and follow-ups with any items. And by the way, you should leave that meeting with one true idea to drive profitability. Don't try to implement 3 or 4 things. Don't try to drink water from the bottom of the ocean. You need one activity that will drive profitability. That's it. Vote on the one, train on it, supervise it, and follow up on it. That's how you're going to be able to gain profitability, long term. So the next question in the mailbag is, most of our projects are a few $1,000s. Okay. So you must be in the service-based business because, or maybe you're a consultant for like some kind of security or IT or web or whatever the case is, where the pricing model is a lot higher. And this person says, which most people, of course, cannot afford outright. So maybe you are in maybe the service-based business, maybe home services. It says, I know PayPal offers payment plans, which I think would be really helpful. Should I pay the extra fee? If you have ever talked to me about PayPal or about this about like this topic of conversation, then you know that my idea about how to collect payment is always you make it easy for people to do business with you, and they will. It's that simple. Make it easy for people to do business with you, and they'll do business with you every time. That's how you drive profitability. For now, if PayPal is the only way that you can accept larger payments in lump sums and stretch that out over time, then you should pay the extra fee to make it easy. If it's not too much of a burden, you should compare what PayPal offers you in terms of financing. Essentially, what you're asking me is about financing, or buy now, pay later. Can they buy now and then pay over time, right? So there are a million different versions of this that merchants have come out with, because especially now where money is tight, inflation is high, cost of living is through the roof almost everywhere in the US at the moment. It's so important for high ticket payment items that are either service or product based to be able to have breakdowns of payments over time. This is something that consumers are looking for at the moment. Flexible payment terms, flexible payment options, and it's also marketable. If you have a good way to actually break down payments so that a person doesn't feel that hit at one time, you're going to increase your client load and you're going to be able to service multiple people. However, make sure that you have a way to collect on payments that could be missed over time, right? So like, it's all well and good to have a payment method that a person could leave for you, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to be in a situation where you have like collection issues. Because if you do, you're going to be left kind of like this young man right here.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping?
So collection issues are the worst hurdle to get over when you're trying to have people do a buy now, pay later. And the only way to kind of get through those is to ensure that you have the option available. You're going to increase people who want your service but can't really afford it. So if most of your projects are something that people can't afford, then yeah, a finance option and a good collection remedy on the other side of that is going to be critical for you. So don't leave out the collection piece, and make sure that you have people sign personally, or that whatever merchant you have has them kind of sign off personally, so that if you need to go after them and to collect, that you can do that. All right. So thank you for the question. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just share. I have questions here and I have questions on a sheet because some of these were so long that I could actually get them in a banner on the screen. And so I had to put them on a separate sheet. So I have them right here and I'll read them to you, so we're on the same page. Let's see. All right, here it is. All right. So question. Well, long story. This person says, I started a business with a friend a year ago as equal partners. He's become a severe cocaine addict. Whoa. Okay. And misses work or is in a desperately poor mood and taking it out on me most days. So this isn't good already. We have booked in for the next month or two. We have work booked in for the next month or two, and it's lucrative work. I want to leave the company, but don't know what to say or when to say it. Timing is key because I want to get out of this run of work done and then split the money so that I can have startup capital to go back out on my own. I'd really appreciate any advice that you can provide. So this is a pretty serious issue, especially if your partner is doing drugs. And this can, if you had a good relationship with them, this can make doing business together very, very complicated. So here's my recommendation for you when it comes to trying to dissolve this partnership. You want to leave on as good of terms as possible. And you want to make it all about how you have always appreciated what you two have built together, but you're interested in starting your own thing. I would be very honest about this, that you're interested in starting your own thing. And in order to start your own thing, you're not going to have the bandwidth to continue on with what you're currently doing and do the new thing at the same time. So what I would do is, it's always best, remember, it's always best if you come at this with blunt honesty, and you have a plan for how you want to lay it out. So that's what I would do. I would say, look, I want to start my own thing. I think it's time. I've been aching to do this for some time now. I appreciate the time we spent together. But after these projects, I'm gonna want to split. So what you don't want to do though is you don't want to tell him too early so that he begins to kind of just flake on his own. You don't want to tell him too late so that causes other issues. Maybe you tell him if there's 2 months of work remaining, maybe you tell him at the beginning of the second full month of work that you say at the end of this month, just FYI, I really got a great opportunity that fell in my lap and I'm looking to move on from at the end of the month. And, I appreciate working with you, but I think it's time for me to go out on my own. So this is going to be my last month with us working together. And so what I figure we could do is we can get through this month. We'll split our profits, and then I will go and start this up, and you can continue this, and I'm more than willing to sign over whatever partnership agreement or share I have to someone that you might want to bring in, unless you want to start and run it on your own. So politeness is going to be key. Try to stabilize and make him, not to make him angry or resentful, and then giving notice, not too much notice and not too little notice to cause, anxious feelings. I'm assuming that because both of you split the money, that you both have access to an account that you're probably scared that he may dip into, especially if he has a cocaine problem. So you don't want to tell him too early because you don't want him to kind of just abscond with whatever he has left. But at the same time, you don't want to leave him hanging because he deserves to know the truth, especially given how it seems like you guys were equal partners for a year. And then at the end of that, another aspect of your friendship should be to probably get him some help, do whatever you can to help him out. So that's my suggestion for you there. And I'm sorry to hear that he's going through that. It's terrible for him. I hope he gets the help he needs. And, look, I'm sorry that you have to go through this as well. It's a tough situation. So I wish you the best. Okay, next question. Hello. I'm excited to share my business idea about a dog daycare called Paw Haven. Paw Haven offers a comprehensive range of pet care services designed to provide dogs with a safe and fun environment while their owners are at work or away. Services include daycare, overnight boarding, grooming, and training classes. I've heard of all those at one place before. It says our target market includes busy professionals, families, and seniors with pets in urban areas. This business will be successful. I'm glad you have the confidence because it caters to the high demand for pet care services among urban owners in Halifax, so Canada, right? So with the focus on quality care, safety, and convenience, Paw Haven can build a loyal customer base. What do you think about my idea? An idea like this is not unique. So let's start from that premise. We're going to start from the premise that your idea is actually not unique. Because there's probably a lot of businesses in your town that actually do what you do. So this actually raises an interesting question, right? So what do you do if you want to start a business that you're passionate about, but is not unique?
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
That is the question that everybody wants to know, right? How do I start a business that is new to me, but commonplace to everyone else? The key is that you're not going to convince people that, especially if you're just starting, that you have the best in the entire city. You're not going to convince people that your thing is unique to everyone else. What you have to do is have the best community that's in the city. So now, building businesses that are common, not necessarily unique, and you're going to struggle for top of the market in the market you're in until you get more brand awareness. You need to focus on building a community of pet lovers who like your shop because of the community that you've built. So that means a couple of things. It means that people are going to have to trust you. It means that you're going to have to put out content like a mad woman, right? And or madman. I don't know if you're a man or a woman. And you're going to have to do so on a regular basis because you're going to have to become the mayor of pets in your town. Everyone, when you walk into the room, people should recognize who you are. That guy or that lady is the owner of dog daycare of Paw Haven, right? You need to be able to build a community and build expertise. If you are looking to build something that's unique in the area where there's probably already 25 dog daycares that exist that offer exactly the same service, I think that you're climbing the wrong tree. It's the wrong thing to do. So you have to build a community of people who believe in what you do, that are willing to be a part of what you do, and believe that they can trust you with their pet. You're going to have to build some major trust. You're going to have to learn as much as you can so that you can be professional. And you're going to have to bring the community aspect so that people feel like they can connect with you and what you're offering. And if you can build the biggest community of people who love your brand and what you offer for pets, then you're going to be just fine. As long as people can connect with your brand and what you're offering, you're good. But if people just see you as another run-of-the-mill doggy daycare, then what they're going to do is they're just going to, frankly, shop on price. But if you have a community that's, accessible to people that's associated with a high level of service, standard, professionalism, that a brand that's associated with a high level of competence and care for dogs, if you have a brand that's associated with a mission for how you want to achieve pet safety, pet satisfaction, and make people's lives easier because they're working professionals in the area, and you can get people to join that community, gather social proof about what it's like to be in that area, then you're going in the right direction. That is how you build a community of people who want to follow you, who know, like, and trust you. That know, like, and trust factor is going to be absolutely critical for your business. So, off to the races. Wish you the best. All right. So our next mailbag question comes from upstate New York. New York. Wait, is that the sound? Is it New York? It is. As Alicia Keys. Is it New York? I think it is. I'm terrible naming music. You know how some people can just name songs like that? Like I'm awful at that. It's so hard for me to do that. But anyways, this person says, "Hey Micah, I live in upstate New York, and one of my favorite restaurants in town is up for sale. I have been engaged with the seller, and I've been doing due diligence for the better part of 2 to 3 months." So this is going to beg an interesting question. What kind of due diligence are you doing? What have you been researching about this restaurant? Because just because you like the restaurant, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing. Maybe it's the right thing for you. But it's all going to come down to, for instance, the motivating reasons why the seller wants to sell. So anyways, let's take a look. He says, everything has gone great so far, and we're at the point where we're redlining on a term sheet. So you're going through the offer sheet, and you're going to kind of bring it back and forth, is what that means. Your lawyers are kind of battling. It's a battle of the terms. However, last night he shared the annual sales numbers for 2024 thus far, and it is not looking good. So far, compared to 2023, their sales are down by about 35%. No idea what margins are looking like yet, since he hasn't run those numbers yet, but I have been doing some forecasting based on assumptions from historical data. And if I can get the labor under control, even with lower sales, I feel confident I can maintain profitability. But understanding the current state of the economy and thinking through microeconomics of my town, there is some doubt. Any thoughts? Of course, I have plenty of thoughts. And I thank you for writing in, because this is something that I run into often. I get this question from people a lot who are looking to try to buy a business. And there's a couple of red flags here. So the first one is that their sales numbers are down 35%. So one of the things to think about is this business already has two problems. Sales are down 35% from last year. I would be interested to know what the year last year looked like compared to the year before. But in addition to sales being down 35%, this business also has labor cost constraints on it. meaning that the labor costs are already high. And even at wholesale prices, the cost of food inventory right now in the US is huge. It is way more expensive than it has been. Here's the other issue that you're going to deal with is that you don't know what the margins are yet. You haven't gone over what the margins are yet on that gross percentage that you see. You have the right mindset though. Don't get caught up in the fact that margins that you don't get caught up in the fact of the gross number. Restaurants that are run fairly well, and depending on what type of restaurants, can have some really big numbers. But restaurants also historically have very low margins. They often rely on lots of turnaround of the tables, lots of customers. Restaurants are a volume play. And when one or two factors change with restaurants, it can throw your margins completely out of whack. Until you understand what the margins are, and the fact that and I'm glad that you're thinking about the microeconomics of your local town, because that plays in big with whether or not you should buy a business. If you're trying to buy a luxury hotel in a town or a city where the economic state of the city is something like, people are making like $30,000 and a room there is $600 a night, you're probably not going to do that great in that town. The same principle applies to buying this business. The current state of the economy is tough. People are taking a second thought about whether they want to go out to eat. I just saw a statistic today that said 74% of Americans are eating more at home, making meals at home, than eating out, which is the highest number in like a decade. That's something to think about. Labor costs are going up, especially in places like Massachusetts, New York, and California, where the cost of living is really, really high, and there are higher minimum wages in those states. You have to think about everything. And if you, my friend, if you're not planning to own a job and you want to buy this business for passive income, and you don't want to be exhausted by the end of the week because you had to, in order to cut labor costs, you had to step in and you have to provide a lot of the labor yourself, because in order to balance your books, you have to cut 50% of your labor, which means that you have to work, 60% more, plus buy the inventory, plus run the restaurant. Like, it can be an absolute nightmare. There are so many considerations that need to be made. Now, here's my recommendation. I would opt for a business that's boring. Boring businesses that are pandemic proof or recession proof are simply fantastic ways to go. If you have money to buy this restaurant, then you might have money to buy something like self-storage that doesn't require labor or that much labor. And people are paying you on a regular basis. People need storage. The government needs storage. People moving on apartments need storage. College students need storage. Business owners need storage. Homeowners need storage. Renters need storage. Like, that's a boring business, but it's also one that generates cash on a monthly basis, and it can be fully autonomous, and you don't really need that much in the way of labor to make it run properly. Another boring business that you can think about if you have a town with high renters is a laundromat. If your town does not have like high economics, I guarantee you that you have a percentage of people in your town that probably rent. There's probably a significant portion of your town that rents. And given that fact, there's probably a laundromat that you can buy. Laundromats nowadays operate from like cards or like cash. And so that you don't have to sit there necessarily and pour out a bunch of quarters. It can be almost 100% cash-free business that you use cards for to buy your laundry. People use their debit cards or their credit cards, whatever the case is, to buy laundry. Think about a boring business as opposed to a restaurant business right now, especially given the state of the fact where people are reducing how much they go out. And now if you're watching this live stream, and we have quite a few of you on here watching the live stream, think about yourself. I want to know from you, have you stopped going out to restaurants more? Have you stopped ordering out? I know that we have. We've cut way down on how much we've ordered out. Stop, like, I don't even want to know what my DoorDash bill was like a few years ago. It was ridiculous. Or my Uber Eats bill. But particularly over the last 12 months, I know that my wife and I have stopped going out on a significant basis and ordering out as much because it's just very, very expensive. Even if you make a good amount of money, you're like the pure cost of going out has skyrocketed over the years. And so financially, with the cost of, I was watching something the other day where a person was ordering on DoorDash and it was like a $12, it was a $12 hamburger or cheeseburger with fries, right? And then the tax was like, let's call it $4. And then the service fee was $3.99. And then the delivery fee was like $2. And the person hadn't even tipped the driver yet. And then there was a platform fee that they had to pay for. And by the time they added all that stuff up, plus the tip for the driver, they were in it for one cheeseburger and fries, like $22. It's like, are you kidding me? So people have stopped to a large degree ordering out. And now people are just, doing what they did back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. They're cooking at home, which, I'm cool with. I think they should cook at home. To me, that's, that's kind of like what you want. Is you want people cooking at home. It's also healthier. You know what's going in your food. So there are benefits to actually cooking at home as well. Okay, so let's go to our next. So I hope I answered your question. And I'm going to move on to the next question. So here's the next question. Another potentially boring business. I'm kind of feeling boring businesses nowadays. Car washes. Okay. Oh, this is a mobile car wash, though. All right. This gentleman says, I am going to start a mobile car washing business so that I don't waste time traveling between clients. My target audience will be business owners who have 10 plus employees that can give the car wash to their employees once a month as a perk. I would have the business owner sign a contract, show up on the set day each month, and wash all the employees' cars for a set price per car, agreed upon in the contract with a minimum payment. My questions are, would you as a business owner spend that $600 to $800 a month on your employees? Do you think your employees would appreciate that as a perk and in turn appreciate you more? If yes, what industry do you work in? Well, you know what I do. And thank you in advance for your input. Okay. Some background. I'm a 24-year-old, currently working a corporate job, making just under six figures. The work is not very satisfying. And I feel like now is the time to take risk before I have a wife and kids. I spent 4 years in the military before my current job. I chose mobile car washing and detailing because of the low overhead, low barrier to entry, and quick learning curve that is possible to achieve. All right. So there's the background on our gentleman right here who is looking to start this mobile car wash. Okay. So here are my thoughts. So let me answer these questions one at a time. Would you as a business owner spend $600 to $800 a month on your employees? The answer is yes. I would spend $600 to $800 a month on my employees. But here's the thing. Businesses, despite the prevailing thought, and now I know, especially now, that people believe that businesses are there to only serve the community and that businesses should have a heart and they should contribute to the community. And that is entirely the case. And that is part of being a business owner and creating a business in the community nowadays. But a bigger part and the primary part of running a business, which should be of no surprise to anybody listening to this podcast right now, is to make a profit. The singular reason why people go into business is to make profit. Businesses exist to make profit. That's why they exist. They exist to make profit. Those profits then go to buy human labor that sells their labor essentially to the firm. This is basic economics. And then those households that get paid for their labor then take the money that they get paid and they buy goods. This is like the state of the macroeconomic system in the US. So this is kind of how it works, right? I mean, you know this, but this is obvious, but this is kind of how it's structured. But businesses exist to make a profit. Why do I say that? Because as an employer, do I exist to make my employees happy? Yes, to a certain degree. But I also want to make money. So if I'm going to spend $600 to $800 a month on my employees, I would like it to return something back to me. And it's not going to be just, for instance, the perk of getting their car washed might make them happy. It's kind of a cool perk. But the problem with that is, number one, whose liability is it if you scratch their car by accident? What happens if they scratch their car on the way into work and you didn't see it and they didn't see it and the scratch exists, but they think you did it? Am I paying for that? I pay for you to come in. Or are you paying for that because you're the mobile car wash guy? That's the first thing. But the second thing is can I get a bigger return on my money for $600 to $800? The question is, what am I getting for that perk as a business owner? Am I getting a happy employee that will become more productive? I think that's kind of where you're going with this as a perk, but all perks are not created equal, right? From where I sit, the best return on my investment as a business owner is getting a perk, is having the perk of health and wellness, because I want to not just make my employees happier, but if I can make them more productive, that's even more important to me. So if I can make them healthier, which means that they feel better, they're happier as a result of their health being better, they don't miss as many days of work, they show up on time, their health leads to higher levels of productivity. Like that to me is way more important than them just being happy because they got a car wash. If I can make them healthier. So to me, if I'm spending $600 to $800 on something, it's going to be on something that works on the mind or the body for my employees, because that is going to return to me bigger dollars than a car wash. Do I think that the employees would appreciate that as a perk? Yeah, of course. Of course. Employees love anything for free. If I were to have a budget of $150 a month for free packs of Trident gum on the front desk when you work in, all the Trident gum that you could chew, employees would appreciate that because they don't have to pay for it. So yeah, they're going to appreciate it as a perk. But what does that return to me? Now, some companies have things like employee lounge and a massage therapist on site, and they have free food and all this other stuff. But notice that when budgets at companies get cut, the first thing that goes are those specific perks. But the perks that stay, regardless of economics, typically with companies, are perks that specifically relate to health and wellness, because that typically returns something like 30 to $1 spend for a company. Meaning that the company will spend, for every dollar or $1.50 the company spends on health and wellness, that employee is going to return about $30 in productivity to the business. That is where my attention is. The industry, I believe agnostically, it doesn't really matter. I think that my view of how employees are going to view this and return on cash is going to be the basis for how people view their interactions with whatever perk that they're using, the business owner. If I can justify these perks by making my employees healthier, therefore make them contribute more to the company, and then of course making me more money, then that's what I'm going to do. I need to return profit to my shareholders and to my stakeholders. That is my goal. That's what I want to do, and I want to do that every single time. So I appreciate the question. Thank you so much. So before I go on to the next question, I wanted to share something with you. This is a little bit of a departure from the question. We're going to take a break from the mailbag because I want to share with you something that I saw the other day, which I thought, I saw it earlier today. And I thought this was pretty funny. Not pretty funny, but like, well, was it funny? Yeah, I guess it was funny. So I'm gonna set the stage for you. There's a man that went to court. He had a virtual court hearing, okay? And in his virtual court hearing that he's in with the judge, this is all a digression from this mailbag, but this is also a chill stream. So that's why another reason why I'm sharing this. Take a swig of my water. In the virtual hearing with the judge, part of the charge is about this man's license. Okay. Part of it is about the validity, and the suspension of his license. And this man has decided to join his virtual hearing with the judge while driving in the car.
I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts.
Yeah. He decided that he was going to attend his virtual hearing about his suspended license with the judge behind the wheel of a car. Okay. This is probably the essence of stupid, I think. I think it's so stupid. I think it's unreal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you, this video is about 2.5 minutes long or so. And we're going to watch it together because I'm bringing you in on this because we should all enjoy when people do stupid stuff. And we can take a look at it. So this is the gentleman who was driving around, and no, I'm not in the Zoom meeting, even though my screen looks like it, with a suspended license and joins a virtual hearing. I thought this was so entertaining. I can't wait for you to hear it. Okay, here we go.
You stationary?
I'm pulling in right now at this second. Yes, I am.
All right. What are we doing?
Your Honor, we are respectfully requesting an adjournment in this matter, up possibly 2 to 4 weeks if the court would allow.
Okay. So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Think about that. This guy, he is currently in a hearing about driving with a suspended license. So the judge doesn't realize it until he looks at what the charge is. And then he looks at the defense attorney for this guy and says, what? This is about driving with a suspended license? Oh, man. And then watch what happens. Oh, this is great.
And he was just driving. And he didn't have a license.
Oh,
Look at his face.
That is what the charge is, Your Honor, yes.
Look at the guy's
No,
face.
I'm looking at his
Yes.
record. He doesn't have a license. He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Look at the judge's face.
oh.
The judge is trying not to laugh because it's so ludicrous. Oh, this is great. This is great entertainment. Look at the guy's face. He doesn't know what to say. With his seatbelt
Hello?
on.
1 minute, Mr. Harris.
Look at the judge. He's trying not to laugh. This is hysterical. He's like, this is a hearing about a suspended license, and you don't and he doesn't have a license. This is great. This is so funny.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
The face. Look at that face right there. This judge just stepped in and revoked this guy's basically sent him to jail. Said he had to turn himself in by 6 p.m. that evening because he's going to jail. And look at the face. Look at the face. Look at the face. He's like, I can't believe I'm just going to get a blood pressure checkup. And look at the face. Oh, this is so good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Harris, I'll be giving you a call.
Okay.
Oh, God, that face is hilarious. That face is so good. Oh, man, that is so good. Oh, man, that is great. I wanted to share that with you so bad because I think it's absolutely hilarious. Anyways, we're going to look at some TikToks later. Some business TikToks, whatever. Some crazy stuff. That's what we do on the Chill Stream. We just look at some random stuff around the web. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me get to the next question. You feel me? Like, imagine that. In court because I have a suspended license. Virtual hearing, by the way. Virtual hearing. And the first thing the judge sees is that lap belt. You're driving in your car and you tell him that you're going to the doctor.
Boy, have you lost your mind? Because I'll help you find it.
That's exactly what the judge thought. And this guy is like,
your business, that's all. Mind your business.
And what a fumble that was. I mean, let me see if I could pull out. The judge was basically laughing at this guy.
Got him! Got him!
My man got sent to jail because he's an idiot. Oh, man. It doesn't get better than that. This is what happens. This is what people do. People do so much stuff that's so stupid. I don't get it. But anyways, I thought that was pretty good. That video has been floating around today, and I thought I would share that. And so I'm sure there's some other social media stuff that I can share later that I saw. There's plenty of stuff. I see that I come past stuff all the time that I think is hilarious. I keep it to myself, but I'm not gonna do that today. I'm gonna share what I see with you. Okay. Anyways, let me get back to some more of these questions. Let me get back to some of these questions. Sorry, my internet is just playing over there. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. All right. Okay. So what industries do you think benefit from the most from sales promotions, and why? This is a good question. I'm probably going to keep it pretty broad though, because there are so many industries out there that benefit from the most from sales promotions. To me, the most important one is retail businesses, because retail businesses directly correlate to consumer confidence and spending. So when a person is out there and doing retail shopping, it's often with the intent to spend money. Intent is often there. People buy on impulse. A good sale or a good price can get them to buy almost immediately. Also, I find that structuring your sales in a way where you can appeal to people at certain times of the year for things that they need done, like home service-based businesses, if you can run a promotion, people would actually buy those as well. So I think that is something that people would buy if they, I think that they would benefit also from sales promotions for home services as well. So like if you have a retail business, if you have if you have a home services business, those are two big ones that people would buy from. It allows them a lower barrier to entry to some typically higher entry cost items. Like for instance, you're not like, remember when Black Friday first started, people weren't going to buy like the $5,000 LCD TVs or plasma TVs. Remember plasma TVs back in the day? People weren't going to spend $5,000 unless they already had, a decent amount of money. However, Black Friday allowed people to get it at a way lower price point. So that's just an example of how retail benefits from that. And then in terms of home services, maybe you have a wood burning stove or a wood pellet stove, or some kind of stove that needs to be serviced by somebody who's certified in some kind of HVAC, right? Or chimney cleaning service. When they run a promotion in October to clean your stove for the winter, it's more likely that you're going to take advantage of it because the cost to clean your stove, for instance, like let's say in the spring or the summer, might be higher right after the season's over. Although they may run their promotion in the spring really, really early so that when it gets closer, they kind of wedge you up against the necessity and the service. And so when that happens, look for a better time to clean your stove in the spring, perhaps when their business is lower and they're just doing installs and less service-based services that they're offering. Next question is, what are some common mistakes businesses make when implementing sales promotions? Easily. Poorly planned, executed way too fast. There's no ramp up. They don't prepare their existing customer base or people who might purchase that they're coming out with a with a sale or what the promotion is. They're executed absolutely poorly. They spend too much money on the creation and not on the disbursement of the sales promotion. Yeah, I mean, frankly, they don't track KPIs at the end of a sales promotion. They don't know who they sold to. They don't know how many people fall into what bucket. They don't know if the person is likely to buy from them again because they don't send some kind of net promoter score survey out. They don't follow up and see what a person enjoyed about the product, so they don't get like feedback, the feedback loop about how important the product was to them and how it affected them. And they don't actually do anything to retain that business long term. They don't have a plan past the initial sale. So like, let's say they have a Black Friday sale, but and it's for a service, right? They don't have a secondary sale to upsell that person to the next regular level of promotion after that's done. They don't utilize things like email marketing to try to keep a person around. They only engage that person once, they make a sale, and they hope for the best that the person will sign up. You can't hope in business. You have to plan. And so oftentimes I feel like that businesses make the mistake of implementing sales promotion without an upsell plan. What exactly are you trying to sell and why? And do you have the margin to upsell them? Right? Like you have to be able to service it. Also, if you're running a sales promotion, what else I've seen is that people don't they don't know how to, if you can sell a product as a loss leader, but you should not lose money on on a special promotion unless you have the ability, for, like as a restaurant or you're a big box retailer, where you can lose money specifically on this product because you know that by driving traffic in for this product, people are more likely to buy this and this product, and you're gonna be able to cross sell them into 2 other products, which actually are way more profitable and will make up that loss. If you don't have that as an option for your business, then you should never create a promotion where you lose money as a loss leader. Instead, you can run a promotion where you break even, so your costs are covered, but you should never lose money on a promotion, especially if you are running a promotion because you need the cash at the moment. That's another common mistake that I find that people make when they do this. Okay, I got a lot of questions for this mailbag tonight. I got a lot of them. I have way more than I'm going to be doing on this because I wanted to get to some other fun stuff like looking at random TikToks and stuff and YouTube videos. But I'm gonna show you the last one, and then I'm gonna move on to some of the chill part of the chill stream. Okay, so I have a shop that's currently vacant at a gas station, which already has a convenience shop. It is on a floor number 2. Any suggestion on how to put it to use? So they have a current vacant store. The gas station is on the 2nd floor. Already has a convenience stop. If it maybe you need to advertise that space to a professional, someone who does professional services, like an accountant or a lawyer. It would be fine for someone who can see clients perhaps they have clients that don't have to come to them, or a person where their clients come to them, but it's only like 1 or 2 people at a time. Like an accountant would be a good one, a CPA, a lawyer, of course, who's just starting out, going out on their own, perhaps a massage therapist who's just going out on their own, someone who provides services on a primarily one-to-one basis and is not loud and is okay with they're not overly concerned with the appearance of a gas station as the front-facing decor that people see when they pull up, the front-facing aesthetic that people see when they pull up to their office. That's how you want to deal with this situation. Professional service, someone who sees 1 or 2 people in an appointment at the most. And you can go ahead and just figure out some of those professions. I gave you a few: CPAs, massage therapists, starting out like lawyers, stuff like that. So I think that's one way to go. So that is our mailbag for today. We did a good job. We got through. Let me see how many that we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mailbag questions. It took me like an hour to answer them because I wanted to give you the best answer that I could possibly give you. And now it's time to kind of look at some cool stuff. Online. I'm interested in let's see here. That is the end of the mailbag. Oh, yeah. Let me put up TikTok. I like picking on TikTokers. It's so much easier. Oh, have you ever seen? This is so loud. Have you ever seen chiropractic videos? Those are great. Hold on. I'm going to show you. I have some weird TikToks, man, that show up. All right, hold on. All right, these TikToks aren't doing it for me. Hold on. All right, let me search business topics on TikTok. All right, let me share my screen. The TikTok hour. Here, I'll make us even.
I'm 17 years old and I make 6 figures a year strictly online, and I'm going to tell you guys how I do it. I wanted to talk about all my sources of income and kind of give you guys some ideas of how you can monetize yourself on the internet, because honestly, it's so much easier than people think. So my first source of income and my biggest one is my business that I run. I run
e-commerce
for 4 years.
I always hear about e-commerce.
Steady income there. It's called Boardwalk Beads if you want to go check it out. I'm going to make a separate video on how to start a business and like tips that I would give anyone of any age to start a business. But other than my business, I actually do YouTube. A lot of people have this misconception that YouTube is outdated and oversaturated, but it's a search engine and you can make so much money once you get monetized. I feel like income transparency isn't a thing that really people on the internet do, and I think it's inspiring to hear about other.
That's true. You can make money on YouTube if you are consistent and you post on a regular basis, and you you have a good like niche, right? You can make some pretty good money on YouTube.
Others, so I'm going to be kind of transparent with you guys.
She also has the pretty privilege thing going on, right? Because she's attractive, she's a female, so that also helps kind of with the YouTube thing.
Not bragging, I just want to kind of inspire you guys to realize the opportunity.
Whereas me, you gotta look at this ugly mug
that are out there. So my biggest YouTube video was a tutorial on how to make these little flower bracelets, and I think I made $7,000 in the past 2 years off that video, and it still makes money to this day.
Pretty good.
So that's the great thing about YouTube. Once you post the video, it is on the internet forever. It will make you money potentially for the rest of your life. So my second source of income is Amazon storefront, which would make me a lot of money.
It's actually a third source.
But I'll make videos on my TikTok promoting like items that I like, and I, design my storefront the way I like it. And I mean, it's like, it's free money. You're an influencer or you're trying to become an influencer.
It's not free money. People don't value their time usually. And so typically they say, it's free money because they don't have to pay for anyone. But the bottom line is, if you pay with your time, yeah, that's the thing. Let's check out business motivation, shall we?
You want to know one thing that every failed businessman that I ever met had in common? They immediately assumed.
That sounds like AI. I don't think that is Elon at all. Let's see.
If you've been dreaming of opening that business, you should start the process. Don't try to figure out how to make the business make $1 million. Just start the process.
Yes, that's true.
If you make one step, he'll make 2, but he can't make his 2 unless you make your 1.
He's talking about God, I think.
Start. Fill out the application. Go get the patent. Send in the paperwork. Get your federal ID number. Do something, man. Start creating a website. Let your job sponsor your dreams. Take some of your check money. Quit playing one of them punk bills. Take that money and start your website. What is you talking about now? If you owe Kmart some money and Sears, what is you paying them for? They finna be out of business.
Good points. Good points. Let's take a look at Myron Golden.
It doesn't take you a long time to go build a successful business. It takes you a long time to become the person who's willing to do it. It doesn't take you a long time to go build a.
So I think what he's saying is it's all about you, right? Versus something else. Let's take a look at that. I'm not a big business motivational, like rah-rah music overlaid in the background kind of deal. Let's see. Look at this guy who made $7 million.
Excuse me, sir. Quick question for you, man. Is this your Ferrari? Yeah. And what do you do for living out in Los Angeles to be able to afford a Ferrari? I own my own consulting firm. So you're a business owner? Yeah. How long have you been an entrepreneur for? 6 years. And over these 6 years, what's been the most amount of money that you've ever made in a single year? Just over about 7.1 million last year. $7 million? Yeah. You're sitting in a Ferrari right now. This is a lot of people's dream car. Tell me the story of how you bought this thing.
I'll be honest with you. I had already offsetted all my taxes for the year, and I just wanted a Christmas gift. So I just went and bought myself a Ferrari cash. When you don't pay taxes, a lot of these types of purchases start to become a little bit different.
So you don't pay taxes?
Oh, no, I don't pay any taxes.
Why is that?
People say that it's patriotic to pay taxes. It is not patriotic to pay taxes. It's actually more patriotic to not pay taxes. The government has created this tax system, and it's a legal playbook for us to legally pay the least amount of taxes possible. People need to wake up and utilize that book and not be in the same circumstances of just paying taxes every single year.
As a multiple seven-figure entrepreneur, what's been the best financial advice that you've ever received throughout your career?
Ooh, if you haven't heard of this and you're self-employed, you need to implement the Augusta rule. As long as it's for business, you can rent your house to your business and charge yourself a fee for it. That is an amazing tax strategy at the end of the year.
What are your thoughts on debt as a business owner?
Oh, I love debt. I'm focused on trying to increase my debt actively right now. And the reason why is because debt allows for me to buy more real estate. And in return, I can use that real estate to offset my taxable income. So I love debt. I'm a partner with the bank. I look at me and the banks as we're business partners.
You got amazing advice, sir. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you.
So the Augusta rule is real. I actually did a podcast on where I was talking to a financial expert, and we talked about the Augusta rule. And if you want to look at that podcast, it was with someone who's into taxes. You can just click here on the to credit the screen card here, and you'll be able to see it, right? But yeah, you can rent out your primary residence to your business. But there are some stipulations, of course. He made it sound very easy, and of course, if you were to like really dig in, he'd probably tell you that there's a lot more to it than that. And you have to. There are a bunch of checklists, and in that podcast that I had with a woman who owns a tax consultancy, she talked about this, and she laid out the principles and how you can actually go and use the Augusta rule for your house. I thought that was a pretty cool perk of actually owning your own business. So that is real. That is not just TikTok fluff. All right, so let's see. I don't want to do business. Like the whole business hack genre on TikTok is, let me tell you, it's a bunch of garbage, most of it. And some of it's illegal, believe it or not. Let's see what
Business
Kevin
is war. There are competitors, winners and losers. It's binary. You either make money or you lose it.
True. 100% true. Business is war. You have to keep fighting in order to be successful. I mean, I am getting the most ever downloads of my podcast, but it's been years. I have spoken to no one for a while. Yeah, it takes a while to build an audience and to build people who actually believe, know, like, and trust you. Let's see what Jeff Bezos has to say.
All of my best decisions in business and in life, when you can make a decision with analysis, you should do so. But it turns out in life that your most important decisions are always made with instinct, intuition, taste, heart. All of my
I think there's something to that. I think that, the pendulum has shifted with business to hiring, almost like the whole Moneyball thing and the whole data analytics, and how, like, even with sports, it's going to data analytics and cameras in stadiums looking down at basketball players to see how efficient they are and analyzing playing time versus other people. Like, there's a lot to do with analytics, and business is going that way in general, right? Like, over analyzing. But at some level, at some point, you're going to have to make a decision just instinctually. And I think that a lot of times it's those decisions that do catapult you to another height, because you can have all the analytics in the world. But have you ever hired someone who didn't work out, even though you had all the data of a resume in your hand? Of course, because it means that analytics go to a certain extent, and then you have to lean on your own experience to be able to take you to the next level, right? that is really, frankly, where the ability to hone those instincts is what separates people who are really successful from people who are just mildly successful, I think, in my opinion. So that is something that I wanted to just talk about when it comes to that. Hold on a second. There is something I wanted to take a look at on YouTube. See if I can find it again. Yeah. Let's see here. This thing keeps on coming on, like the sound keeps coming on and like throwing me off, but no, I can't find it. Well, I tried. Have you ever seen the Ben Mala videos, like the real estate guy from Florida? He's pretty entertaining. He goes around. He's a real estate guy, commercial real estate. I think he does own some residential buildings, but he's primarily in commercial, like Class A retail space. He does Class B too. He owns a couple of hotels, and I find him very, very fascinating. Anywho, I will. I think I'm going to end the stream here. I've gone long enough, but yeah. I mean, we had a good time tonight. Look at some videos, answer some mailbag questions. Yeah, I'm going to end this here. So thank you for tuning in. Until next time, I am working on a couple of videos right now. They're going to be video on demands. One about if I were to start my business over. Look, I've been in business for over 2 decades, and I do have some ideas about what I would do differently if I started over, like in 2024 or just right now. And so I'm creating a video. If I had to start from the beginning today, what would I do differently, or what would I do to build a business from the ground up right now? And so I am putting that video together, and that will be out hopefully by next week. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in tonight for the mailbag. You can always go to thecommonsensepodcast.com and you can submit your mailbag questions for the next mailbag that I do. Another way to get in contact with me is just to click in the description below and to be able to actually see the email address. Click on that and just email me with your mailbag, and we will put that together for you for the next time. I'm Micah. Until next time, use your common sense in your business, and your business will grow. I'm out of here. I always do that. Wrong extra. Now is the outro.